All right, what's up, people? We're back here, audio out session style. We got Brian Neumann in the house tonight.
That's right.
It's a pleasure to be able to sit down with Brian and have a chat about music and life. Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate
Awesome.
So, I know you posted recently something about how it's been like 32 years you've been in the music biz.
Maybe a little bit more than that, but
Okay.
that's about how long I've been,
Right on.
really doing it.
Right on.
So,
Wow.
When did you, what was your first instrument, guitar then?
no, bass was my,
Bass?
well, actually, my very first instrument was drums, but my drum teacher was nuts and scared the crap out of me, so I quit drums and
Okay.
literally made me cry
Oh, okay.
every time I went to my drum
Oh, like
lessons.
every time?
Every time.
Man.
So that ended my drumming, but I wanted to
Wow.
be a drummer.
Did you have a
Kevin-
set at the time?
Why'd you make
I
him
had,
cry,
I, had
Kevin?
I had a snare. No, Kevin wasn't born yet. Kevin was not even born yet.
It was 4 weeks ago.
Have you seen the movie Whiplash?
I have.
I have not seen it, but was
It's
it
a
any,
great
was it
film.
anything like
no,
that?
No, it was worse than that. I can't get into details, but my drum teacher was
Wow, that's
crazy.
rough.
He did,
I don't know,
he
dude.
did some very bad things after this.
That's rough, man.
Yeah. So, but the whole bass thing happened. I had buddies that were always jamming in the basement, and I'd always go to their practices, and there'd always be a bass sitting there because the bass player never showed up.
Okay.
So it was literally guitar, singer, and drummer, and they said, "Why don't we make him our bass player?" And I didn't even know really what a bass was. I thought guitar and bass was all the same thing.
Yeah,
I
it's
never
when
really
you-
broke it down to what.
Yeah,
did
when you
what.
look at it really close, okay.
No,
there's
I thought
four
Gene
strings.
Simmons was a guitar player, just like Paul
I
Stanley
mean,
was a guitar
it's called
player.
the
I didn't
bass
know the difference.
guitar, so technically
Yeah.
you weren't wrong.
Right.
You know?
So I grabbed the bass, and they told me where to put my fingers, and that's where it started.
Awesome, man. Was this in where at?
In
What-
Ottawa.
In Ottawa.
Ottawa,
Okay.
Illinois, yeah.
Right on.
I had a friend named Richie Gould. Hi, Richie. He's still playing. But Richie was a fabulous drummer. And at like 12 and 13, he was playing Rush.
Nice.
So literally like 15 or 20 of us would go to his basement and watch him play Rush with the big headphones on. This was the late 70s, early
That's awesome,
80s.
man.
So, and he was fabulous. And he plays guitar for some reason now. But play
Okay.
drums, Richie.
Right on, man. So you started on bass and like when did you start gigging out?
Shortly after that.
Okay.
I mean, I think I had my first gig within probably 2 months of finding out what a bass was.
There you go. And they just had gear for you?
Yeah, for a while. My stepdad is a keyboard player, and he gave me
Okay.
my first bass amp, which
Oh,
was
right on.
beautiful 215 custom with the padding on it. Remember the
Oh,
customs
yeah.
with the
Yeah,
tuck and
that's
roll
what I do.
thing? Yeah, that was my first bass amp. So
Nice.
that
man.
got me rolling. And yeah, we played a party 2 months after I found out what a bass was.
And it just
Wow.
hasn't stopped since then, pretty much.
No. Nope.
That's awesome.
That's
man.
pretty awesome.
And
It was-
yeah.
It was a weird thing though, because I loved punk rock, so I didn't really care about playing music. I cared more about jumping off the couch at the party we're playing at,
Mm-hmm.
So I literally didn't really start. I got fired from every band I was ever in because I couldn't play. They hired me because I was nuts, and they thought that would be cool. And then they're like, "He's nuts, but he can't play." So then I really started. I really didn't start.
That's how a
trying-
lot of punk is, though.
Yeah. I'm like, we don't need to learn how to play. That's a waste of time. I was skateboarding and then jumping off stuff. That's all. I figured that's all you really had to do. But after getting fired, I got fired from a very well-known band called Nicky Fox.
Okay.
And
I remember that.
they were one of the biggest bands in Chicago, and I still did not know how to play bass yet. And I was the bass player. So then after I got fired from Nicky Fox, I'm like, I better figure out how to do this or just quit. So I hooked up with Peter Robillard, who's a
Okay.
genius, and
Right on.
he taught me how to play bass right.
Very
So-
cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then that's how that rolled.
And then you kind of gradually made the segue into guitar?
Well, there was a real decline in bands being able to get gigs right around 2000, 2001. I mean, we could not get a gig to save our
So it was
life.
kind of like adaptation then.
All bands were breaking up, and
Yeah.
everybody was going solo. It was me, Todd Witek, Rick Sowens.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys did it before me. I didn't know how to play guitar, obviously, because I just learned how to play bass.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, I needed to get gigs, so I figured it out how to do it. And
Yeah.
my first gigs were just playing bass lines with the power chord, because that's all I knew.
Yeah, right.
So I was just beating out power chords, and
Hey, what about
I didn't know how to play guitar. Just like
Okay.
I booked gigs with as a bass player, not knowing how to play bass. That's how I started my guitar career too. Booked gigs and then learned how to play.
Yeah,
later
there you
on.
go, man. But I gotta say, dude, like your singing voice, I think is awesome. Like, great rock singer, you know.
Thank you.
When did you
Absolutely.
start singing?
That's another horrible story. My life is filled with horrible stories. I started playing with Farrell, you know, Chris Farrell, one of my best friends we've been friends since the early 80s. And I was a skateboarder. I'd skateboard all his shows and stuff, and we became friends like that. I still obviously couldn't play yet, but I was starting to try to learn how to play. And he's like, you should be in my band, you know? And he was starting a new band. And then he heard me play, and he's like, well, you need to practice more. And they got this other guy. That band was called, what was that band called? I can't remember. But they hired another guy, you know, because I wasn't ready yet. But he wanted me in the band to, you know, probably bring excitement to the band. And
Yeah, right
be
on,
the
man.
crazy guy. But I got off track. What was the...
Singing.
Oh,
How
the
did you
singing
get
thing. Yeah, that was a Farrell story. So we get together and we start working because this was after that other band broke up and we wanted to start a new band. I couldn't sing worth a shit, you know? And he was getting very frustrated with me because he was trying to help me learn how to sing. He was a phenomenal singer at 12 years old. At 12, Chris was fronting a band. He was the lead guitar player, lead singer. All the other guys are 16, 17, 18 years old, and their boss is a 12-year-old. So he was very advanced, way over me. So we're in his basement, you know. He just got more and more frustrated. And at one point, he took my mic and he put it in the closet. And he goes, some people just can't sing, and that's you. We just got to do it without you singing. And I go, I can do this, man. I can do this. And he was pissed. But I eventually got my mic out of the closet and kept working on it. And there was some songs I could do. I could sing some Billy Idol and stuff, but most of them were horrible with a few bearable ones in there. And then you just get better by doing it over.
Yeah,
I didn't give
absolutely,
up.
man.
You know, I should have gave up. Because literally people were like, this guy is freaking horrible. It took a long time, so.
Well, here you are still doing it, man. And
yeah.
I think you sound great nowadays.
Thank you.
I mean, pretty much.
I was just gonna say, and not to mention, you were actually off camera too. You were saying that you were been playing 9 years open mic.
Yeah, the
9
Monday
years
Night
in a row.
Music Club at Jake's. We do it every Monday. It's at Jake's Poorhouse on 9th Street in LaSalle.
That's pretty impressive.
Probably the longest running open mic I've ever heard
Yeah,
of.
that's
I've
pretty
been hosting
impressive.
it for 9 years, so thank you, Jake's.
Yeah, man. And
It's a fun thing. Friends get together. We have comedians come in. You can literally do whatever you want, so it's a lot of fun.
am I getting stories mixed up or something? Or were you saying that you were a musician in Vegas for a while too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean,
That was 2006. I was going through a divorce, and I ran away from home.
okay.
I'm like, see you guys later. I quit my job, and I got on Craigslist and found a casino band looking for a multi-instrumentalist, because by then I could play fairly well, you know. So I told them I can do everything, which
Right
I
on.
can't. But I
So they had you on like accordion and kazoo and.
this was very Vegas showy thing. Everybody switched instruments every 3 songs,
Okay.
and everybody played everything.
Okay.
So I'd be playing bass, and then I'd be playing guitar and singing, then I'd go back to the drums, and we had a girl violin player that could also play all the instruments, and she was super hot, like a model, you know, wailing on the violin. Then she'd go back on the drums, and we're like, look at us, we can play everything. So I got fired from that band.
How long did you do that for?
I was with them. They were called Free Ride, and they were great guys, but they were very religious and very they were set in their ways with what they wanted, and they loved my energy, but the punk rock stuff was too much for them. So Vance Shepard, hello Vance, he's still out in Las Vegas kicking ass. But Vance is like, you're not right for us, but we have a band that you would totally fit into, because he was also managing bands.
Okay.
This lead singer Vance from Free Ride. So he hooked me up with Atomica, who was just like me. They were like guys like you would have here.
Right on.
So then it was just like, I'm home now, you know. These guys are all like me. We're in casinos, but we're kind of punk rockers. We're drinking, we're having fun. Where the other ones were doing Bible study on break, you know.
Gotcha.
And it just wasn't my thing. So.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
So thank you, Atomica, Mark Toohey, out there in Reno, Nevada.
Very cool, man. That's adventuresome. I mean,
It's a
that
great
sounds
band.
like
Yeah. I was out there for 3 years, and Atomica was a blast because we went everywhere. We went from Laughlin, which is south of Las Vegas. We did Las Vegas. We did Salt Lake City. We did Carson City, Wendover, Reno. So it was like a tour, more of a touring thing where Freeride
cool.
was casinos, and Freeride was rough. It was like being a busboy. You know, they're like the managers of the casino would say, you come in through the back door, you don't talk to anybody, you know. If somebody tries to talk to you, you just avoid them. So like people would come up and say, hey, good job, and you'd be like, thanks, and run out the back door.
But I am part of the band.
No, you were more like a busboy on that.
Wow.
But Atomica
Wow.
was more, we had the right gigs. We were fun, our crowds were fun. That was the best gig.
That's cool, man.
Great band.
Very awesome.
Yes.
Kind of backtracking a little bit, but what actually got you influenced in playing? Like, was it bands or was
The
it?
very first time I remember seeing someone play a guitar live, I was about 6 or 7. I lived in Sheridan, and my mom had a friend. Her name was Lorelei, and my mom was like, "We're gonna have a hootenanny," because my mom was from the deep south, you know.
Okay.
She's like, "We're having a hootenanny. Lorelei's coming over. We're having a hootenanny." I'm like, what the heck is a hootenanny? So Lorelei came over and played her guitar, and I was just like, holy crap, I want to do that, you know. I'm like, that's what I want to do, you know. And my parents were like, oh, you can't do that, you know. So there's a lot of things in my life that make it a miracle that I ever became a musician. Because I remember a lot of times saying, no, you can never do that, you know. I'll put your microphone in the closet, you'll never be able to sing, you know. So it's a miracle that I stuck
Basically,
with
the
it.
doubters kind of
Yeah, I mean,
motivated you. And...
yeah, with my parents, I don't think they really meant to do it. They're just like, get away from me, kid, you bug me, you know, that type of thing. They weren't like, you can do anything if you try, Johnny. You know, they just weren't that type of parents. So it was literally fighting for everything. I used to fall asleep with the radio under my pillow so I could hopefully learn something about music. I didn't know that there was lessons, or I didn't know any of that stuff. I didn't know that you had to work hard to be good at something. I thought it fell out of the sky, like these people can just do it, you know? Because I didn't know. Nobody told me. So then after the Sheridan episode, my mom and dad got divorced, and my mom married a brilliant musician. So they would practice in my living room. And there's a great rock band in my living room every day. It was the same thing, though. It was like, you come in, you're like, this is great, I want to do this. Go to bed. You know, get out of here.
Yeah, that sucks.
So it's like, okay. So yeah, literally, if my friends, you know, Richie Gould and them guys didn't say, hey, pick up that bass, you know, and I had a genius musician living with me, you'd think I'd have it made, you know. But it's not really his fault. It's just they had other things to do, apparently, you know.
I hear you.
So,
you.
Shit happens.
Well, man, I'm glad that you have had that stick-to-itiveness, you know.
I have no
'cause-
idea why. I really don't have any idea why I stuck with it. I don't. It was hard. It's fun. When it's going well, it's fun, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, I know, it's fast forwarding now to like yesterday, you had like 2 gigs, right? Like right in a row, which
3 to 6, and yeah.
yeah, but I
7 to
mean
10.
playing like right across the street
Yeah.
from each other, that kind of makes it a little bit easier.
It's
You know.
about the same because I still had to load my car and drive over there.
true.
True. If I had just had to run over there with the guitar.
like Frogger.
it would've been cool. Yeah. No, it's cool. Yeah. Everything worked out somehow.
So what's in your in the future? I don't know if a lot of people know, but Punch Fatty is getting back together.
Very
and-
excited about the Punch Fatty gigs. We've done just 2 of them, I think, maybe 3. I can't remember, but they were unbelievable. Just the crowds
Awesome
were
turnout.
nuts, and yeah.
Sweet.
And it's just fun. Those are the guys I grew up playing with. You know, I started with Farrell in the early 80s, and Mark was shortly after that. Me and Mark have been playing together since 85, Mark Fishka.
Wow.
We were in Back Alley together, and then Nicky Fox and Punch Fatty. And then after Punch Fatty broke up, we had Beatnik Nolte, which was Tony Alvarado, the other Brian Neumann, who's not related to me,
Which
Mark Fishka,
yeah.
and and me. So that
She
was a
just
great
named that
band.
the Brian Newmans.
That's what I wanted to do. But we couldn't figure out which spelling to use because he spells his different. I'm like, I think we should probably use my spelling.
Put one of them in parentheses,
Yeah.
like in the middle of
Yeah,
it.
because it was just the 2 ends. I have 2 ends, he has 1, but
I mean, what are the chances, man? There
That's
are
crazy.
2 musicians in the same town with the same name.
That is
yeah,
crazy.
we've been best
Yeah,
friends.
in the same band.
Me and the other Brian Neumann have been best friends since 80, 88, 89. He was a Nicky Fox fan. That's how we met.
Okay.
He used to come see us. So, but yeah, it's just nuts.
That's crazy.
But yeah, well, the thing is, after I moved back from Vegas, I just did solo gigs for God, like so long, 7, 8 years it's been. So in the last 2 years, I've joined every band that has asked me to join them.
Right on.
So right now I'm in the Radium City Rebels, which is a great rockabilly band.
They're playing upright bass for that, or?
Sometimes.
Okay.
I have a fretless
Okay.
precision that I rather play, but
Yeah.
we have the upright for the look. But no, I like to play the fretless Fender better.
Right on.
But yeah, the Radium City Rebels, and then it's the Strangers, which is me and Steve Westerman and Tommy Zawacki, another great band.
Yeah.
Party, crazy costumes and stuff.
Right on.
And then Punch Fatty. So, and then doing solo gigs. So
Now there's the Casual
Busy.
Vampires too, right?
Yeah.
Brian Neumann and the Casual Vampires.
that's been ongoing forever. Yeah, that's literally what the name sounds like. It's very
Okay.
very casual. You've probably been in that band. I don't
Maybe.
know. Because like if you show up, you're in the band.
Okay.
Pretty much. But it's basically me and Mark Pishka, and we do a 2-piece, and then other people come. There's
Okay.
been times where we're playing out at Starve Rock, and we're in 3 songs in, and Matthew Pittman's setting up his amp. I'm like, oh, are you in the band tonight? He's like, yeah. I'm like, cool.
So it's kind of like a
Matt's in the band tonight.
just an open
And he
mic,
played all night, So,
open mic kind of thing, but it's an official
but
band.
they got to be good. And if they're not good, we're like, but Matt shows up, he's going to do all right. Kevin shows up, I know he's going to pull it off. So that's how the Casual Vampires works, and that's
right.
a blast,
Cool.
Because
cool.
that's no rules and there no stress. The other
Yeah,
bands
man.
are kind of stressful because you got to be good, You're doing rockabilly, it's got to be authentic, it's got to be good, or you suck, But the Vampires are just fun.
Very cool. So as far as like writing your own songs go, is that something that has just kind of been like throughout like, the last 20 years or something, or was it like, have you just like
I haven't
maybe
written
one
a song in over 10 years. I just really started not caring about any of that, Much like the audience, like when you play an original,
gigs, yeah.
I'm like the audience that says, don't do that, play one we know. So you hear that enough, you're like, that's true. I'm like, I'm not better than Paul McCartney. He already wrote a song, I'll play that one,
That's
So-
one way to look at it. That's one way to look at it.
There are plenty of good. And the weird thing is my stepdad, who's the great musician I told you about, he used to say that stuff. He's like, there's plenty of good songwriters. Why do I need to write a song? I'm like, man, if I could write songs, that's all I do. And when I was a kid, I did. I was into it. But I wasn't into it as much as playing the Clash.
Right
I'd
on.
rather play a Clash song than my song. So it's like,
I hear you.
no, I just lost interest. Totally lost interest in it.
What about the idea of just like, documenting times in your life through like putting it into a story?
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing about
Jeff and I
songwriting.
were just talking about that. Is I really, if I die, there's really nothing. It's like there's no. I've been in the studio twice in my life, and once was The Bones, and that was me and Chris Farrell's 2-piece thing.
Okay.
A brilliant album. I listened to it today, and I'm like, we were freaking good, man.
Right on. What's it
When
called?
it's called She Knows, The Bones, She Knows.
Okay.
Or I think it's called I Think She Knows, The Bones.
Oh, okay.
And we wrote that in 88, 89, something like that, but didn't record it till maybe 91-ish. And when we put it out, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. I listen to it now, and it's like, my girlfriend was playing
You
it
got
in the
something
kitchen
going.
the other day when she was doing the dishes, and I'm like, that's good, man. We were pretty young when we wrote that stuff, but it's really good. And then, that was early 90s, and then with you for the Cops for Cancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's my studio career. I don't do it. I play gigs.
You do an awesome version of Heroes, though. It did sound amazing. It
Thank
really
you,
did.
man. Yeah, that was fun. I was very happy to be a part of that because, like I said, I don't do that stuff. So I got to start accepting more offers.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, right on.
But yeah, that's the one thing Jeff and I were talking about, though. I should have something documented. 'Cause
Yeah, that's one way to
it's
look
just
at it
boom,
too,
boom, just playing, all the time. And that's another thing. For a lot of my life, I've played 7 nights a week.
Mm-hmm.
So if I do get that day off, do I want to go in the studio?
Right.
And I want to go skateboarding and
Yeah.
go surfing. I don't want to go in the studio. So that's the main reason why I don't record is
Definitely a
just 'cause
different life.
I've been playing nonstop my whole life since I was 17, 18 years old, playing. So,
I mean, it's, kind of a different perspective now. You have all this experience built up, and you know all these songs, so you can probably, write a song in a day.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I'm not telling you how to live your life or anything, but, just because audiences at some of the gigs maybe don't want to hear your own stuff, that doesn't mean that, like, there's not people out there that want to know, like, what does Brian Neumann sound like when he's playing his own stuff.
Right.
That's true.
And I mean, even if those people are few and far between, maybe it's, cool to be able to give them something,
I've always been the guy at the concert, though, that when, Aerosmith says, hey, we're going to play a new song for you, I'd be like, don't do that. So, and that's the same with me. I'm like, I'm going to play an original. No!
See, but you're putting it to concert again, though. You're relating it to live.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
what the weird thing is with me, though, is like, there's guys like Jacob Picard out in Alaska. I call him Picard. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but hi, Jacob in Alaska. He was furious with me at Monday Night Music Club one time because I loved his originals, They were so great. And then he'd play a cover tune. And I was all buzzed up. I'm like, you should never play covers again, man. You play originals. Your originals are great. And there should be a rule that Jacob doesn't get to play covers no more. So he took it the wrong way. For me, that was a compliment. I love your originals. Don't ever play a cover tune again because you shouldn't do that. You're great at this. But he didn't talk to me for a while. But I love you, Jacob. But yeah, I love when you do original stuff, and I don't love all of them though. There's some guys out there that I don't want to hear their original stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of my point though. Like, there's a difference between taking your own stuff out to the streets and playing it for people out in the club or whatever, and just writing something on your own. Even if it's just a voice memo recording. Like voice memos on my phone, it's filled up with all these little weird things,
That's what's great about the phones now. You can just record everything that comes.
Yeah, and I mean,
and I still do that, but I don't use them. I should do something. I really should, but I don't know if I will. I'll probably just keep doing what I do.
Yeah, one day at a time, right?
Yeah.
I know this guy.
You know a guy
I know a guy.
the studio?
I know a guy.
This would be the place to do it for sure.
So anyway, what do you say? You want to do a couple of songs?
Love to.
And I think Kevin's gonna
join me because I've become a loop addict and I don't have a looper with me.
Me too.
So you're gonna be my loop guy.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. Just stomp on the floor when you want to start the loop.
All right.
And I'll be all right.
You'll know.
This is what I'm gonna play.
it.
Yeah.
You'll be able to feel it. Yeah. Let me grab my guitar.
All right.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. And here's Brian Neumann.
Thank you, Jeff.
Was a real go-getter, wore a see-through skirt, beige and black sweater on a motorbike, blowing kisses to strangers. Joe should knock it out if you cross the line. Danger is her middle name. Said be yourself, you don't achieve much fame. She had a butch haircut, looking quite dandy, throwing hair They drove it way down south to try real hard to not fit in. And rumors have it that they're staying with some of our friends, but I know she's got a secret organization. You gotta know the password to get in. And Clem ain't talking, 'cause Clem is dead. We go. She's not a big chrome parachute, covers it up with the flat black spray. I say the way you roll, Mary Jo, with me is A-OK. Kevin Kramer one time. Woo! Mary Jo. That was written early 90s, I think. Superhero Mary Jo. This next song is the first song I ever really wrote all the way through. It was written in, I don't know, mid-80s, early 80s? Mid-80s, I'd say. This is called Date with the Sandman. I wrote this for my son, and the lyrics were originally, Hey Little Boy, but I didn't think that'd sound great on an album starting a song with Hey Little Boy. So I changed it to Hey Little Girl. Sorry, Ian, my son out there, Ian. He knows this was written for him. This is called Date with the Sandman. Rest your weary head. There's nothing to say. We can't wait till tomorrow comes. Then we could play. Yeah, we'll wake up with the sun, alright. Lower your hands and all your monsters go away. And with the wink of my eye, every trouble in the world seems A-OK. Think I'm a hero, yeah, but it's all in your mind. I told you again and again and again that those shadows are mine. So why don't you just close your eyes? Pretty girl, why don't you just close your eyes to the world? You gotta be the Sandman that I think you should be. Ooh, yeah. From the TV static makes my head hurt, but that's okay. I'm going to stay right here till you're scared no more. I won't let go of your hand 'cause it makes you feel safe and warm. Why don't you just close your eyes? Why can't you just go to sleep? Pretty girl, why don't you just with Sandman.